Good afternoon, Mike Scanlon, City Manager for the City of Osawatomie, Kansas, and this is my weekend update for February 25th, 2022. The City Council met in the regular session last night. We had two items. The first was the repairs that we're making to the wastewater plant. We took bids. The winning bid was about $2.5 million, about $100,000 over our engineering estimate. But given where the world is in terms of supply chain, labor force, we were really happy that we were basically within 5% of what our cost estimates were. We're going to start working on that immediately. It'll take us 40 to 50 weeks to get a lot of the mechanical pieces that we're going to need in order to finish the project, but the hope is we get started on construction in the fall of 2022. This week, our tourism committee met on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. It was the first meeting of our tourism committee, which we've spent the last 4 months forming. The tourism committee is responsible for the money that we collect and put in our tourism fund. We have transient guest tax, we have sponsorships for our various community events, and we have donations that people provide us. We have 4 signature events. It's Lights on the Lake, Border War Barbecue, Freedom Festival, and bringing back John Brown Jamboree, and you'll hear us call it John Brown Jamboree 2.0. They met for 2 hours. We've had follow-up meetings with the various committees. I want to thank Jeff Dorsett, who's now the chair of that committee, Melissa Mamer, who's the vice chair, Kevin Shasteen, who's also one of the members. Then we have the 4 event representatives that are there, Gordon Schrader for John Brown Jamboree, Crystal Masick for Lights on the Lake, Grady Atwater for Freedom Festival, and Derek Hennis representing the Border War Barbecue. We look forward to the work of that committee. If you remember, tourism creates pull, brings people into our community. That's been sales tax. The more sales tax that gets spent, the more we can invest in our infrastructure and our downtown. So the goal is to bring people in to visit Osawatomie, the great historical and trail pieces that we have, which I think I would call the gems of eastern Kansas. Additionally, this week, if you received the Miami County Republic, you would have saw our insert with our newsletter. And this is our quarterly newsletter, and it has everything on it from the solar array that we're about ready to start working on in earnest with Evergy, to how you can use TextMyGov to get updates about city events or issues that you're having, as well as just a whole host of things that we're working on here in the city of Osawatomie. Last night, the second piece of last night's meeting had to do with bonds, and the bonds that we issued are called general obligation bonds. It's for our street program. If you remember, we have a 10-year term in terms of sales tax that you passed as voters in the fall, as well as a property tax that we're going to levy for 10 years to help us fix our streets. We've issued some debt on a portion of those revenues. We got really good bids. We had 9 bidders from 6 states, and the states included Wisconsin, Minnesota, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. So we had 6 states in which we received bids. We had 9 bidders, and the winning bidder for the bond issue was Country Club Bank out of Kansas City, Missouri, and their interest rate, so the net interest cost to the city, was 1.8122. They were about 10 basis points below the second bid that we received. So very good rates. If you sort of know construction inflation, you'll realize that we're borrowing money at a rate that's below what construction inflation typically is, meaning that we can get more things done early on and reduce our risk for inflation, over time that would chew into the money we have available for streets. So the idea is to get as much money as we can up front to do as many streets so that we can reduce the overall cost of the program and get more streets done. So with that, I hope you have a great weekend. It looks like it's warming up. It was a cool 5 degrees this morning when I walked into town or City Hall. So have a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you next week.